Hello everyone, my name is Sahai and I'm making this video to talk about an experience I had with a pretty popular creator on this app by the name of Medusa's Judgment or Poetic Exposure TV.
Hey y'all, it's Destiny.
Hello everyone, my name is Sahai and I'm making this video to talk about an experience I had with a pretty popular creator on this app by the name of Medusa's Judgment or Poetic Exposure TV. I want to start off by saying that this video is not to bash anyone or send hate to anyone. This is just simply me talking about my experience, speaking about my story and my truth. In August of 2022, I DM'd this individual on Instagram saying I'm a really big fan of your content and I enjoy watching your videos. From that initial conversation, we started a flirty back and forth, like get to know you over the phone or FaceTime over text type of relationship, and he seemed really genuine. He seemed like a really nice guy. I really enjoyed talking to him, and eventually, a couple weeks after that initial DM, he suggested that maybe I should come to Philly. We could go to museums, we could go sightsee, I could show you around my city. And he was saying all these things, and I was like, you know what, sure, why not? I start college in about a month. I start my sophomore year of college in about a month, and I have a little bit of free time before the summer finally ends. Why not go to Philly for the first time? It will be fun, you know. He has a lot of stuff planned. So fast forward to the middle of September 2022, I actually go to Philly. When I got to Philly, I quickly realized all the stuff he was telling me we were going to do over the phone was just simply him telling me what I wanted to hear. None of that stuff he had actually planned. None of the stuff that he said we were going to do, we actually did. All the stuff that we did in Philly was me suggesting, like, hey, we should go to the farmer's market, or hey, we should go here. Nothing he did, nothing he said was actually what we did in Philly. And that was okay. I still had a really good time. I spent about a week in Philly. And when I got back to Washington, that's when things got really, really weird. We continued to talk on the phone and text like normal, and he started to talk to me about wanting to move. He was like, yeah, I want to move out of Philly. I hate Philly. I don't want to be here anymore. I've been here for my whole life, 25 years. I want to move and see different things. And I was like, oh, okay, like, cool. Where do you want to move? And he goes, oh, what about Washington? I can move up there with you. And I'm like, oh, well, you should wait a little bit. You should come and see Washington, visit Washington, or save a little bit of money before you just up and move. And he was basically telling me like, oh, don't tell me what to do. I'm grown. I can make my own decisions. I know what's best for me. And I was like, okay, like, you got it. You can do whatever you want. You're right. He then starts saying he wants to move specifically to Bellingham, Washington, my small college town. And when he says this, he suggests that I get a 2-bedroom apartment in my name and he can just move in and live with me. And I shut this down completely quickly, and I was like, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want to get a 2-bedroom apartment my sophomore year and you just come and live with me. Like, I've only known you for a couple months. I'm not doing that. So he goes on to say like, okay, well, if not, can you just suggest apartments in Bellingham that I could possibly move to? And I was like, okay, like, I can't stop this man from moving. If he's gonna move, he's gonna move. I can't tell him he can't move. So I was like, yeah, I could look around at some apartments for you, and I could suggest a nice couple apartments for you. I suggested 3 apartments for him, one of them being my apartment that I was currently living at, because I knew it was a student housing apartment, but it also rented to non-students, and it was very understanding for people who had bad credit or low credit or like financial issues. They were very understanding and they accepted a lot of people. So I knew that when I suggested this apartment for him, that he would most likely get accepted. And he applied and he did get accepted. So 3 weeks after initially seeing him in Philly, he was moving to Washington, specifically Bellingham, Washington. And I couldn't fathom in my brain why he was so quick and urgent, like, to move. But now looking back on it, it's because he saw the financial situation I was in. He saw that I had my own stuff going for me, my own car, a place, and he knew my financial situation was a lot better than his. So he wanted to leech off me and use me. And that's why he was so quick to move, because he thought I was going to be his cash cow. So in the process of moving from Philly to Bellingham, Washington, he takes the Greyhound bus. And when he takes the Greyhound bus, he comes with 1 suitcase. He packs his whole apartment up, sells everything, and comes with 1 suitcase. On the bus, since it's a long bus ride, they stop in different states. They stopped in, I believe, Denver. And when they stopped in Denver, he got out of the bus and walked around. And then when he came back to the Greyhound station to get back on the bus to continue the ride to Bellingham, he realized the bus had gone and left him because he missed it while walking around. So he calls me. He's like, yeah, I missed the bus. They say another bus doesn't come until 9 hours. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. What are you going to do? And he's like, oh, I don't know, but I was like hoping you would get like a hotel room for me just for 9 hours while I wait for another bus to come. And I said, no, like, you missed your bus. You were irresponsible. You got off the bus and walked around. It's not my job. This is when the emotional and verbal abuse started. So he starts to yell at me and curse at me over the phone and get mad at me for not helping him buy a hotel room because he missed his bus. And he starts to use these manipulation tactics like, oh, I'm moving all the way out here for you and you can't even buy me a hotel for 9 hours. And I'm just like, no. Mind you, I'd already helped him with his first month's rent. He was saying, I can't pay first month's rent. I'm moving. So I was like, okay, like, I'll help you. I know you guys. Like, I would never do this ever again for anybody. I learned my lesson. I will never help anybody like this ever again. So I helped him with his first month rent already, and now he's asking for more because he missed his bus. I was like, absolutely not. It's not my responsibility to fund your life. Like, no. So he gets mad at me and starts cursing at me and yelling at me over the phone. About a day and a half after that phone conversation when he's yelling at me and cursing, he actually gets to Bellingham, and I go to the Bellingham Greyhound station and go pick him up. So when I go pick him up, I'm being very cordial. I'm being very nice to him, but I can tell that this person in my passenger seat is not the same person that I DM'd on Instagram, and is dang sure not the same person that he portrays himself to be on TikTok. This is a very short-tempered individual, very angry individual, and I can tell by the way he's interacting with me, and I can tell by the way he interacted with me the previous day on the phone. So the Bellingham Greyhound station is about 5 minutes from the apartment we were staying at. So we drive to the apartment and we go and look at his apartment. He gets his keys, we go in, and it reeks. It reeks of pee. It smells horrible. The roommate has a cat that has peed on any and everything in sight. And he turns to me and he says like, hey, can I just sometimes stay at your place just to sleep, or sometimes during the day? Because I can't, like, the smell, I can't get used to the smell. And I felt really bad, and that was my mistake, feeling bad, my first mistake. And I said yes, and he completely took advantage of this and got really crazy. He would be in my apartment for hours at a time, making skits and TikToks in my clothes, going through my closet, using my dresses, my bonnets, my shirts, everything for his skits, and he would be wearing my clothes in his skits. He would even go live almost daily in my Western Washington University hoodie, and when people would see the live, they would ask him in the comments like, hey, are you going to college? Are you enrolled there? And he would either block them or delete their comments. And just to prove I actually go to that school, here's my ID. When I finally did work up the courage to tell him like, hey, I don't want you here 24/7. I need my space sometimes. You cannot be in my apartment using my room, using my apartment for your TikTok videos 24/7. And this is when he gets violent. When I tried to set this boundary with him, he got so upset he started throwing things, cursing, punching stuff in my apartment, slamming doors, and even getting in my face trying to physically intimidate me because I told him I can't have you here 24/7. He eventually did leave that day, but I was so shaken up because I was like, oh my gosh, who have I invited into my life? Like, I'm so stupid. Who is this person? I don't even know this person, and I invited them in my life willingly. I'm gonna have to make a part 2 about how he threatened my life on Christmas Eve with knives, but right now I just want to say that I waited so long to say something or to make this video because I felt the power dynamic between me and him. Nobody was gonna believe me, and I still feel like not a lot of people are going to believe me because most of his supporters are women who think he's this outstanding, upstanding, nice guy. And I don't fault them because I thought the same thing, but I just felt like no one would believe my story. He has all these supporters, all these followers. No one's going to believe, oh, what I'm saying. And I still feel that way, but I wanted to put this out there because I know I'm not his only victim, and there's other women that he has affected, and they should come forward as well.
No, this is not about she spilled the tea. I am happy that she is sharing her negative experiences about me. I want her to. I have been a very, very, very extremely demonic and terrible man in my past. It's been years since me and her ever said anything to each other. I am admitting 100% that I was verbally, mentally, and emotionally abusive. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying nothing. All I can do is apologize. I can't take back the trauma that I put her through. All I can do is apologize. You know what I mean? Like, I've grown since then. I've been in therapy, massive amounts of therapy since then. I've been working on myself since then. You know, I've been trying to be a better man since then. But I understand trauma lasts a long time, it lasts a lifetime. And if she wants to share her negative experiences about me in the story time, there are multiple parts. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm owning up to it. I'm admitting that I was a terrible man to her. There are some exes, like I said before, that have good experiences with me. They're not speaking out and saying anything, and they don't have to share their positive experiences with me. That's okay too. I'm not upset or mad at her or anybody I dealt with. It's the past. I'm a human being. I made mistakes. I have been intentionally, abusive. All I can do is own up to it. That's all I can do. I'm not upset that she's spilling the tea. There's no tea to spill. It's the truth.
Hello everyone, this is part 2. Again, this is not to bash anyone or send any hate to anyone. This is just me telling my story. So about a day after he goes crazy in my apartment because I told him he can't be there 24/7, he comes to my door and he has his head down and he's moping and going on a tangent about how nothing's working out for him right now and this move stressed him out, he has no money and all this stuff. And I quickly realized, okay, so he's basically apologizing without actually saying the words, "I'm sorry." And I used to have this problem, I can admit, a long time ago, but I never took someone for what they were when they first showed me. I always gave people chances and chances and chances because I always wanted to see the good in people, and I believed that everybody has good in them, and I believed he had good in him. So when he did this whole fake apology, I still allowed him to spend nights and sleep in my apartment. So he starts sleeping back at my apartment, and my roommates are okay with it as long as he's not there 24/7. So he starts sleeping there and everything is good. I perceived everything to be good for about 3 weeks. 3 weeks until November. When November came, I'm planning to go get my hair done. When I'm planning to get my hair done, I'm calling my hairstylist, but she lives in Tacoma. If you know anything about Washington, you know Tacoma and Bellingham about 3 hours apart. Whenever I go to Tacoma, I can't come back to Bellingham in the same day. It's too much traveling for me, and I get tired really quick after I get my hair done. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll just go to Tacoma, get my hair done, and then I'll go to Seattle from Tacoma and just stay like a night or a day with my mom and catch up with my mom and my siblings, because why not? It's close. I have to pass it anyway, and I don't want to be on the road. So I get my hair done in Tacoma, and my hair takes about 7 hours to get done, and then I go to my mom's house in Seattle and I stay there for a day. And while I'm staying there, we're still talking, we're still texting, and everything seems to be fine. My roommates have my number. They haven't called me, haven't texted me about anything, so I'm like, okay, everything's good. After I leave my mom's house and go back to Bellingham, this is when I get a weird feeling because he starts acting completely weird, like he wasn't acting before. He's pacing my room, texting, and then he's pacing the apartment complex on the phone, he's ignoring me, and I just feel a gut feeling like something is wrong, something is not right, but I can't pinpoint what it is, and I'm not gonna ask him because he's gonna blow up on me. So I just waited the whole day when I got back, and then at night something told me, hey, check his phone. He had previously given me his password in Philly because he was like all about, oh, check a man's phone, I don't hide anything. So I had never went through his phone before. I had never looked at it in Philly, and something told me tonight, like, just look through his phone, and I did. Immediately when I open his phone, I see dating apps. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 dating apps on his phone. And I'm shocked because he's the main one saying, oh, I moved here for you, I'm doing all of this for you. And there's 5 dating apps on your phone. So I'm shocked because I didn't think he had these dating apps on his phone, and obviously it's because he wants to keep his options open. And meet, you know, girls at my college. Then I went to his Instagram DMs. When I get to his Instagram DMs, I click on one of the first DMs I see that he's talking to this woman saying basically, oh, look at what these men are doing. They're exposing you in chat rooms. They have your photos. And he sends her a photo, and the photo is of her, and she's not wearing anything. She's not wearing a top. Her, you know, her chest is exposed. And as soon as I read picture, I was like, let me go to gallery. Let me see what else he has in this phone. When I went to the gallery, I immediately started to tear up because I see a bunch of pictures. It was easily over 20 pictures of exposed women. And some of these women had their faces in the camera, and some of these women did not have a face to the picture. Like, they did not have their face in the camera. But the ones that did, they looked young. They looked like they can be in their late teens to early 20s. These were young women, and you could tell the photos were pictures that were sent to, you know, maybe a guy that they liked, and nudes that they sent to maybe their friends or something. But it was 20 or more pictures, and I'm like, it's one thing to tell a woman like, hey, they're exposing you, you should take legal action, this is what they're doing, and it's another thing to have 20 plus pictures saved in your gallery. Like, why do you have these pictures saved in your phone? That's weird. So I waited, and I was like, you know what, in the morning I'm gonna say something. But then the morning came, I was like, no, I'm gonna wait till night so that he can come here and think he's about to go to sleep, and then I can bring it up. So that next night, he's in my room, he's sitting on the edge of my bed, he's texting on his phone, and I'm like, hey, I need to talk to you. He goes, yeah, why, what's up? And I'm like, I went through your phone. And before I could even say anything that I found, he jumps up, he's like, you went through my phone? And I'm like, yeah. So he starts pacing the room, panting.
Now what's crazy to me is the fact that this man gave her his information for his phone so that she could check his phone, but then have stuff in his phone that he shouldn't have been doing.
And like shaking and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I went through your phone and I saw everything. I told him everything I saw. I told him about the dating apps. I told him about all the pictures and the DMs that I saw. I told him everything, and he could not give me a logical explanation as to why he had 5 dating apps on his phone and why he had all those pictures of those exposed women. And it's not like he had all the DMs telling these women they were being exposed. A lot of these pictures were just random women that he did not know. So he's sitting at the edge of my bed with his face in his hands, crying, like loud boohoo sobbing. And I'm telling him, like, whatever you thought we had before, we definitely don't have that now. And at this point, I don't even have to tell him to leave my apartment. He knows I want him to leave. I tell him, like, hey, I could be cordial, I could be respectful with you, but, like, I don't like you. Respectfully, I told him, like, hey, I don't like you. I don't like who you are as a person. And he's still crying, but eventually he does get up and leave.
Now this is just another manipulative tactic that they're going to do. They're going to cry. They're going to make it seem like they are sorry for what they've done. Don't fall for it. They're just doing it just so you'll forgive them.
After this, everything's different. About 2 weeks goes by. I'm avoiding him. I'm not texting him as much. I'm leaving him on red because I just don't want to interact with him. And he senses that. At this point in time, it's November. It's like mid to late November, and my roommates are talking to me in the kitchen, and they're telling me, like, hey, we need to start locking the door. We leave out in the morning, and we're going to class, we're rushing to go out somewhere at night, and we're leaving this door unlocked, we need to start locking this door. And everybody agreed to do their part to make sure the door is always locked. Then they also told me, like, we don't feel comfortable. Sometimes he's a little weird because every time we're walking to class in the morning or leaving, he's in the apartments, around the apartments, looking at them, giving them dirty looks, giving them mean mugs, and they just feel like he's weird.
Definitely lock your door. I don't care if you're rushing or not. Lock it. Make sure it's locked. Check it. Double check it. It's crazy people out here.
So at this point, Thanksgiving break is coming up for my college, and I have to make a decision. Do I leave him at these apartments where he could possibly make my roommates feel extremely uncomfortable, or where he could possibly try to get into my apartment when I'm gone because one of my roommates leaves the door unlocked, and bring a girl? I don't know what he's capable of at this point. I don't know if he would try to bring a girl that he meets on one of these dating apps into my apartment, or what he would try to do, but I don't know what he's capable of. So I'm like, do I leave him here and go visit my family for Thanksgiving for a couple days, or do I say, hey, like, you should come to Thanksgiving with me? So I came up with this plan to tell him, like, hey, my mom really wants to meet you. Like, you should come celebrate Thanksgiving with us. It would be great. It would be great for you to get out of Bellingham and see Seattle. It's perfect. It's perfect. And he's like, no, he's not budging. He's like, no, I'm staying in Bellingham. I'm staying at the apartment.
Now, I definitely thought he was going to fall for that. You would think he would fall for that, since he's still trying to act like they're together and he's calling her and still around her apartment.
Like, no, I'm not leaving, basically. Mind you, my family doesn't know much about him. Only thing I told them about him is that he has horrible anger issues and he takes his anger out on me sometimes. Other than that, they don't know a lot of this stuff. So I told my mom that I am potentially going to be bringing him and that she should just be like cordial with him. And I did. He finally agreed to go the day before I left to Seattle for Thanksgiving. He's like, okay, fine, I'll go. But he was super suspicious because he thought I was trying to set him up or get him jumped, which never was the case. So we go to Seattle for Thanksgiving and he meets my mom. My mom does not like him. I already knew she wouldn't like him. It was just a matter of keeping him out of Bellingham so he doesn't do anything weird with my apartment or with my roommates. So when we get back, I get a text from the group chat with my roommates saying, we have to be on top of locking this door. I'm noticing that it's still not getting locked at night, and it's still not getting locked in the mornings.
Who is leaving the door unlocked?
It's for our safety. We need to lock this door. And I start to be so thankful that I actually peer pressured him into coming with me, because no telling what he would have did when I was gone. I have a couple more things to tell you all, but I'm going to have to make a part 3, and that will be the last and final part.
So that was part 1 and 2 of her story. Medusa's Judgment also posted another video talking about the situation and explaining a few things. Let me know in the comment section if you do want to see that video. I definitely can post that. And if you want part 3 of her story, let me know in the comments. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will definitely see you in the next one.